America is home to 33 million small businesses, the beating heart of communities across the country.
And proof that the American dream is still alive.
This is a show about those dreamers and doers and the communities they serve.
Their real life stories.
Their struggles and successes.
Their grit, determination, and passion.
And the people who fight
to keep their American dream alive.
I'm Alfredo Ortiz.
I'm Elaine Parker.
And it's time for another episode of Main Street Matters,
America's small business megaphone.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Main Street Matters, America's small business megaphone. I'm Tony Angelini, Senior Vice President of Operations and Advocacy for Job Creators Network. Today, we are joined by Jessica Sloan. Jessica is the owner of Bad Addiction Boutique in Indiana and joins us today to discuss just how important TikTok is to her small businesses and small businesses throughout the country. Jessica, welcome to Main Street Matters.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself and your business, and when you started using TikTok to reach out to customers.
Yeah, so we started Bad Addiction Boutique in 2019. We were just on Facebook, Instagram, just having fun, had no idea really what we were doing in the boutique world. And it was during COVID that we decided to download TikTok. I was always had the mindset that TikTok is just for dancers and teenagers, and I am too old for this, but here I am. I downloaded the app. We were posting funny content, with my family, with the dogs. And then we started dabbling with the boutique stuff. And then we were posting very consistently multiple times a day. And when the TikTok Shop beta program opened at the very end of 2022, we were invited to be part of that beta testing program. And so we got to put products into the TikTok Shop, and there was like a testing phase to see how it worked. And I had a pickle jar sweatshirt made because my husband hates pickles, and it was never meant to be a product. It was just for me to make fun of him and give him a hard time. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's a new item. Nobody's really seen this. Let's just put this in our TikTok Shop and see what happens. 2023, it just went crazy for us. We've now to date sold over 50,000 pickle jar sweatshirts, and that's just via our TikTok platform.
That is absolutely incredible. So it sounds like you just sort of organically stumbled into the TikTok algorithm. There was no real strategy.
No, I'm a huge social media girly. Like, I remember 10 plus years ago, people saying to me, like, you can't do live sales on videos. You can't build relationships with people via the internet. You have to be in person. And I was like, no, you absolutely can do that. And I'm going to do it. So watch me and I'll prove you wrong. So TikTok kind of was like something totally outside of the norm for me. I cannot dance. I can't carry a rhythm. So I don't fit the normal, I feel like what people think is the perfect person for TikTok. And we were just showing up every day, being real, being honest, letting people inside our life, seeing what our business was about and what our family was. And it paid off immensely.
That's wild to me, but I have to tell you, I have 3 children. They're in their 20s now, but during COVID, they were doing silly dances and anything to keep us occupied. We're in New Jersey, so we were like the first to get locked down and the last to get, let out of our houses. And one of their friends who had been dabbling with TikTok, sounds like you, she just started going viral. There was no real explanation for it, but all of a sudden her videos were getting seen by tens and then eventually hundreds of thousands of people. And she started getting offers to sponsor products. And
Sure.
I will never forget the day that I'm, scrolling through the algorithm and I see a video of her, and in the back of my mind, I think that living room looks really familiar. And I went back to it and it was mine. She was sitting on my couch selling teeth whitening. So I texted her and I said, hey, like, I want 10% of whatever you get. And she said the lighting was so good. I couldn't resist the temptation. She's now a senior in college. And she has continued on, doing different viral things. I won't name her. I don't know if she would want me to, but she's a cheerleader at a very prestigious Division I school. So she uses, that for a lot of content. She has now been sponsored by athletic wear, different beauty products to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars that she's bringing in. And it's, her story is incredible. And you have to wonder how many, 20 somethings there are out there that have been doing that. But our focus here at Job Creators Network is on the small business community,
Sure.
and especially the brick and mortar type stores. For you to be able to leverage this with your business, I have to ask, because I hear for a lot of small businesses that try in the apparel space, that managing inventory, especially for something like shirts, is incredibly difficult, and it's a lot more cumbersome, and it requires so much square footage to house the inventory. Talk us through what that looked like for you as you're growing what should have been one sweatshirt into 50,000.
Yeah, I mean, we were a very successful business before TikTok exploded. So I don't want to say that we weren't successful before, TikTok happened, but the success that TikTok brought us took us to a whole different level. My husband and I are the main, that's just us, doing shirts, packing, shipping, the whole 9 yards. And when TikTok happened, this probably sounds bad, but my house looked like we were running a drug cartel. I lived in a housing addition in a cul-de-sac. And when this was happening, we were selling thousands of sweatshirts a day. We brought on our 2 teenagers, my in-laws, one of Ryan's aunts and cousins came to work, and we moved from the full basement of our house to the 3-car garage, and we were working probably 14 to 16 hours a day. And it was just box truck after box truck, and then UPS would come, then box truck, then UPS truck, and we had big spotlights out in the driveway, and it was just like everybody had a designated section. We ended up having to bring on a local print team because we were getting to a point, because TikTok has a very strict shipping timeline. You can't just take orders and then ship, 7 to 10 days later. You have about 3 business days to get those orders out without a penalty. So this was very critical that we brought on somebody, and it was hey, we need help, but we need help right now. We don't have time to discuss. Yeah, we need so much help. So we brought on a local print and fulfillment team to help us. And then it allowed us to go back to creating the content that brings in the sales that eventually, just gets that whole ball rolling. Because I would say for about a 30-day period, we did nothing but ship. There was no time to actually make content. And like you said, keeping track of inventory for a shirt company is very hard because it's not just one product. You've got multiple sizes, multiple colors. So that was hard. Thankfully, we live close to our distributor for our shirts. So we have 1 day turnaround on ordering shirts, but we ran into a time frame where they were we don't have any more shirts to send you.
Wow.
We've got to order them from another facility, have them shipped to our facility, and then get them to you.
That sounds like a pretty good problem to have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you sort of started to answer my next question. I'm curious what, other than the shipping regulations, which is interesting because I've ordered some stuff off of some other apps that, by the time it gets there, you forget that you even ordered it. So it's a pleasant surprise that this thing came that you liked. Other than that, what would you say, the bigger differences are between TikTok and other social media platforms through the lens of a small business owner?
I mean, I will say the number one feature is, or the number one thing that TikTok has that you will not find, and I can confidently say this, is the algorithm. You will not find another algorithm that favors your small business more than TikTok. And it's, we're on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, X. I mean, we're everywhere. And so it's not for a lack of trying. It is just the fact that on every other platform, you just get thrown out into like a black hole, and hopefully your video lands in front of somebody that wants to see it. Where with TikTok, if somebody likes to support small businesses, if they tend to like slow down and watch and stay on a small business video, TikTok picks up on that. And so then they start putting other small business videos in front of them. If you know, when our pickle jar sweatshirt was at its highest, people who were like watching pickle content were seeing our pickle sweatshirt. And so TikTok gives small businesses an opportunity to be seen without having a massive marketing budget.
Yeah, it almost like carves out your niche audience for you. I mean,
absolutely.
That's really interesting. And that algorithm is sort of, you know, the hot topic of the day today, because it is that proprietary algorithm that TikTok does, obviously, you know, for whatever reason, doesn't want to relinquish to a new owner. So take us back to sort of like where your head was at when you found out that TikTok may be banned, and walk us through what that process has looked like for you, just in terms of any type of advocacy other than being on Main Street Matters today, that you've done to advocate for TikTok remaining in existence in America.
Yeah, so this isn't something I've really talked about yet with anybody, but I not only during that time frame where they were talking about a ban was worrying about my small business. I also, since my success with TikTok, have been hired on to be the social media face of another boutique. So I also do all the social media, all the live selling on TikTok for Buttercup Lynn Boutique. So I wasn't just battling one business. I'm thinking now I've got two businesses that are strongly relying on TikTok for, you know, our revenue, our sales, to reach our customers. So it was scary, you know, it was scary. And I was taking every opportunity with every news outlet that reached out to try and tell my story, to explain to them how important this is for small businesses and the life-changing impact that it has had on so many families, you know, so many single moms and dads, so many military families who, you know, their spouse has been deployed and they're looking to make some extra money. And people who had a dream to, you know, make a product, whether that's bracelets or jewelry or, you know, t-shirts or hats, it doesn't matter. Whatever their dream was, they were now able to put their products in front of people who care and want to buy them, that, you know, maybe they didn't have the money to have a storefront or to spend thousands of dollars on marketing on Facebook. And TikTok gave them a level playing field to compete with these big box stores. So it was super scary. And we received a ton of criticism with my interviews.
That was my next question.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of time to think about it. I went through a lot of different emotions on how to respond. I've received, I can't even tell you how many DMs telling me like, it's about time you have to get a real job. It's about time you have to work like every one of us. I think it's funny that you're going to have to get a job. I can't wait to see you lose your house and your cars. And, you know, it wasn't just me receiving them. I'm seeing a lot of my other small business friends that I've made through TikTok. They're getting just as much hate in their messages and in their comments. And I had a lot of time to think about it. And I think a lot of it comes down to lack of understanding. And these people either have never owned a small business, their small business has failed because they didn't put in the time and energy, or it's just out of jealousy. I think that's what it comes down to, because I just don't know anybody who has the full knowledge of what TikTok can do for a small business that would come out and say, I hope you have to go get a real job. Like, it just, when small businesses succeed, America thrives, and that's what we're built on. And so I ask those people, like, take a chance to listen to these small businesses' stories and the impact they've had in their community, with their surrounding, and the difference and changes they've made because of their business.
Absolutely. And it's sort of that ripple effect also of your distributor employs people, the
Yeah,
manufacturer of the sweatshirt and all of your other products are, they're employing people. So it's not just you in front of a camera.
Right.
There's a whole army of people around you that are employed and are, out there, and they're able to have a job and to contribute to their communities. So it's always a difficult connection for us to make, especially at Job Creators Network. And that's why we use small business owners like yourself to tell the stories, because people don't realize, when they're picking up a pizza on Friday night, that the guy running the pizza shop is also, sponsoring your kid's little league or making donations for, whatever's going on locally. And so
Yep.
it really is all cyclical. And I think people, I hope it lasts. I think people started to see that during COVID when, all the little guys were shut down, and, you couldn't necessarily have that community connection, not only
Sure.
in your home with your own, circle of people, but then even just like out and about in the world. How does your online community look for you, the supporters? I mean, we'll leave all the, crazies aside. Hopefully you have also had, some good community building because of this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Our community is phenomenal. I mean, I would say it's safe to say I have not met 99.9% of my following. But they know my kids, they know my dogs, they know my husband, they know my story. They followed us through building our home. And these people show up. And if I don't show up, if I have a bad day and I'm not posting a video, they're in my DMs like, girl, where are you? Are you okay? Like, I'm worried about you. And it's so cool to see, as a small business person, as just one human being on the internet posting in Indiana, that I have supporters and cheerleaders and family and friends like all over the world.
How has that interaction impacted your products? Like, are you hearing from people like, hey, I'd love to see this sweatshirt in a different color, or this product, do you have it? How is that impacting your inventory?
Oh yeah, we absolutely take recommendations. We kind of listen to what the people are wanting and do our best to bring it to them. We're always open to ideas and suggestions, and when you're online, you kind of are able to cater to multiple different clienteles and different customers. And that's the beauty of an online business versus having like a storefront. You have the same people usually routinely coming through your doors, where online we've got people that have dark sense of humors, that want motivational, that want, sports related, that want mom content, that want Western content. So I just kind of have that personality and that ability to cater to everyone, and I love it. It keeps the work interesting, it keeps it fun, and it allows, to bring in lots of new customers.
Do you have, hopefully you won't need it, but do you have a contingency plan if TikTok does go and stay dark?
Yeah, absolutely. We have worked really hard on not having all of our eggs in one basket, of, making sure we've got all of our links available on our TikTok shop page so that people can find us on our website, on our Facebook group. We have a very active Facebook following, but again, I'll tell you, we've been at Facebook just as long as we've been at TikTok. I mean, maybe 6 months less, but we do not get the same reach at all over there. And I think as a small business, I think you have that mindset that you're not going to just roll over and give up. we're going to chase whatever the next new app is or whatever the next new, selling point is. But I really do think that they will be able to work out an agreement and we will see TikTok stay. I think small businesses have poured so much into TikTok because they see the reward and they see the benefits. And, as a small business owner, that's what you do. When you see the money coming in from a certain, platform, you chase that. That's just common sense in the small business world. You're trying to make money to support your family, to support your community, and to grow. So we do have a plan. It's still scary. It doesn't make the fear go away.
Absolutely. What would you say, to the policymakers out there, to the senators and the Congress people who probably don't even know how to turn their phone on without help from a staffer? What is your message to them on this TikTok ban? And if you could sit down with them and have 5 minutes, what would you want to get through their potentially thick skulls?
Yeah, I definitely have tried to reach out. I do think that I wish that they would sit down and talk to these small business owners. I think that they would see a significant different viewpoint than what they're getting told. I think a lot of them also are following the agenda that TikTok has nothing to do with the safety of our information. I think it has to do with censorship and only telling the parts of the story that they want the American people to see. I think that is the hugest problem with TikTok and, the politicians is with TikTok, they're not able to control the narrative and people get to see things exactly how they are. And we deserve that as American people. And I think that small businesses are the backbone of America. I think you're going to see a domino effect and you're going to see way more hurt in our communities and our families not being able to support and put food on their table. Everything is so expensive. And I think having a small business and being able to provide for your family is something that everybody should have the opportunity to do. I think I know we're talking small business, but something that's super important to me is mental health. And I can tell you, I could go on for days of different accounts that I see people getting on talking about things that they do to help with their mental health, recommendations that they've done to get out of depression, postpartum moms that have came to TikTok to share their stories so people aren't feeling alone. I think small businesses are a major part of it, but I also think that TikTok has offered so much help to so many different people. There's veterans who were homeless who now have a home because somebody shared their story and raised money to get them on their feet and get them a job. There's just so many people who have benefited from the amazing American people who've used that platform for good. And I would hate to see it be ruined over politics.
I couldn't agree more. I think they should make you the new face of TikTok moving forward because you really are so much more of the face of TikTok than the teenagers doing silly things. So thank you very much for for being
absolutely
as open as you are and making it the place that it is. Before we go, please tell everyone where they can find you and your business. Give us all your handles, all your information.
Yeah, we're on TikTok and Instagram. We're Bad Addiction Boutique, website shopbadaddiction.com and Snapchat badaddiction19.
Jessica, thank you very much for taking the time to tell us your story on Main Street Matters, America's small business megaphone. And thank you all for taking the time to listen. Main Street Matters is part of the Salem Podcast Network. New episodes debut Wednesday and Friday. Please subscribe at salempodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcast, and we will be back very soon with another episode.